All right, let's watch a little of this and just talk about how we beat this and how this happens.
His co-workers suspected he was a witch. As a Bevan boy, Jimmy Savile's fellow miners thought Jimmy Savile was a witch.
Now then, nobody but nobody ever did 8 hours down a pit and came back as immaculate as the set-off with white shirt and everything like that. They were quite convinced I was a witch. If you go to South Kirby now, you'll get somebody else.
But do you see the laughs? That's the shit you got to watch out for. Like, watch out for, like, when people use comedy to avoid truth. When they're like, they were convinced I was a witch. Meanwhile, he's got a body count of kids he rapes. He is a witch. And he's using comedy to say the truth. He's saying reality, but he's getting laughs. That's why I'm so against sarcasm right now, where it's like, because sarcasm is almost like you're speaking the word of the devil, but it's socially acceptable because people think you're joking. It's so weird, dude. It's so like...
Minus, when you say, Jimmy Savile done well, hasn't it? Ah, and he'll look around and he'll say, he's not what you think you know. The forces of darkness are at work there.
They were, though. It's so fucking dark, man. This is why I'm against sarcasm. People think that's weird. And they're like, why do you care so much about sarcasm? It's because I've watched as many Jimmy Savile documentaries as there are on YouTube. Because I need to understand how someone can be put in charge of children and given all the power of the British government, who's constantly raping everyone's kids. It didn't just start with the Muzzies, guys. Power feeds on innocence. And it's like, because I'm not satisfied with, I was for a few months of like just saying, can you believe this shit? And mocking it and mocking like this dehumanization and this like lack of protection of children. I want to beat them. That's why some people are trying to distance themselves from me right now, because I'm questioning narratives that don't go along with their politics, and I'm like, my friendships with certain other people that are more like hardcore nationalists or whatever. I'm like, dude, I'm here to win. I'm not just gonna mock shit as it takes over. And my mind is open to like what will beat the people that do this. A lot of these people didn't go to prison. I mean, the Queen of England was caught smuggling children out of Canada. Who the fuck cares someone's opinion on Brexit or so? People's priorities are so fucked up, man. I think I don't know. Let's watch a little more of this and then we'll call it.
He had influence over people from all walks of life.
A stray television crew, a dozen reporters, 1,000 autographs. He attracts attention like a Roman candle. Jimmy Savile feeds off people.
Jimmy Savile liked to mix with people from all walks of life. By day, crisscrossing the country to meet the man on the street, and by night, hobnobbing with the rich, famous, and influential. Here are just a few of the people he knew or had associated with. The Beatles, Peter Sutcliffe, the Pope, Ephraim Katzir, Elvis, Esther Ranson, Margaret Thatcher, Ted Heath, Gary Glitter, Norman Tebbit.
I remember so well you at Stoke.
Diana Spencer, Prince Charles, Prince Philip, Frank Bruno, Alan Franey, and many, many, many police chiefs. Savile was also a Knight of Malta, a Knight Commander of St. Gregory, and a Knight of the Realm. Jimmy Savile seemed to know everybody, yet nobody seemed to know Jimmy Savile. Publicly, he played the part of court jester, but privately, he held an almost Jedi-like position of influence over the highest and lowest life forms of British society. What was it that made Savile so popular? Was it his looks, his wit, or his charm? Or was it something more sinister? In October 2012, the Sunday Sport, the only British newspaper still bold enough to print uncensored stories, quoted Savile discussing how he discovered he could hypnotise girls.
To demonstrate, you'll see, and choosing a girl who was already fast asleep in her easy chair, I stood behind her, passing my...
Guys, this guy had a children's show. They hide in plain sight. And so you can be like the retard crowd from Pierce Morgan and clap when it's safe and Savile's dead. Or you can look at who's hiding in plain sight. Why do you think I'm so fucking, I don't know what the word is, ostracized? Because it's like they know the eyes of people looking for the people. They know what it looks like. It's like, I'm not here to like retroactively be like, oh, that guy sucked. No, fuck that. These guys are right here, right now. And there's a bunch of them, man. Because the ultimate secret is pedophilia. That's why these motherfuckers rise. You get somebody in the royal family, you get a prime minister, you get some bankers and shit. Jimmy Savile had all this power because he knew their secrets. He gave them kids. How the fuck do people live with themselves with this shit? It's the dregs of society like me and Johnny Rotten that actually are saying what needs to be said. It's so fucking stupid. We're never going to be knighted.
Off, as first her mother, then her father, you'll see, and finally boyfriend. We had a lively patter going. I was convinced she was awake, you'll see, and just playing along with me. Taking again the part of her mother and asking her what she was doing in bed with all her clothes on, sweet horror, did she not stand up, you see, and start to undress, telling her to stop, and in the nick of time as it hit me.
This is in the fucking main newspaper in England, guys. The reason I'm like pointing all this shit out is because like it's still happening. Like this was in the newspaper. This person is reading this. They're dramatizing it. It was in the newspaper while he was alive and not in prison. Like, look around at what's happening right now. Bill Nye talking about 2-year-olds choosing their gender and then doing My Sex Junk songs on his fucking Netflix special about science. It's right there. But like when you say who it is now, who has the power, because Satan has all the power in the world, God has to be that dad, like hoping you do the right thing. Satan is here right now giving you the candy, man. It's happening right now.
All evening, she was handed to her girlfriend with instructions to be put to her bed. The next morning, you see, expecting to be denounced and dismissed, I was shattered with relief when she stood next to me in the breakfast queue and gave not the slightest sign of recognition, you'll see. Now then, years later, in the Isle of Man, I met Joseph Karma, one of the great hypnotists. Telling him the story, he was not surprised, you see, and suggested I should study under him and not finish up in the neck.
Just watch a couple more minutes. I just want people to know about this motherfucker. Because it's like, it's the textbook authority, power, monster guy. This is what they do. They get a position where they can't be questioned. And then anyone who questions
the Isle of Man is well known as the centre of Wicca in Britain, where Gerald Gardner, the father of modern witchcraft, ran a museum devoted to the faith.
What I remember so well is taking him into the Palace of Westminster. I've taken many guests in over the years, but he's the only one who was simply waved through security.
He used magical signs and language. Let's analyse the phrase jingle jangle. It can be broken down into 2 words. Jingle, a catchy array of words in prose or verse, and jangle, which means to chatter, argue noisily, or whine. Although both share the same Germanic root, jengelin, jingle evolved to mean a catchy song in an advert, and jangle to mean a whiny or discordant sound. However, we have also noted the yin-yang, phonetic, abstract, onomatopoeic nature of the phrase. Jingle jangle is also an autological phrase. It describes itself. It is both a jingle and a jangle.
In the occult world, language is an extremely powerful tool. Since ancient times, magic words have been used by magicians to cast spells and invoke spirits. Some are well known to us now, but others have remained obscured through the ages by the secret groups who still use them to this day. This is why we spell words.
Spelling.
Take a word like abracadabra.
Abracadabra is an incantation used as a magic word in stage magic tricks. The first known mention of the word was in the 3rd century AD in a book called Liber Medicinalis. During the Great Plague, Londoners were said to have posted the word on their doorways to ward off sickness. Aleister Crowley, the infamous magician, regarded it as possessing great power. He said its true form is abrahadabra. So even a seemingly harmless word can have a more deep and esoteric meaning, and a much more powerful and potentially harmful effect than presumed.
It all depends on the intention.
When words are repeated 3 times, it is said to increase the effectiveness of the phrase. This is an ancient belief known to us as the rule of 3. Its use is largely unconscious. We prefer things in 3s. It suggests wholeness or completeness.
And I'll explain a little of this, and then I'm out of here. But it's because we fixate subconsciously on things that we can't solve, or things that don't fit in our premises, right? That's why the big lie is so important. That's why when they get you to believe something that isn't true, it makes you hypnotized. It's because your subconscious doesn't stop trying to do it. It's almost like, have you ever had a computer and like the hard drive won't fall asleep? It's just like, it's like it's trying to figure something out and it just won't stop. If you have your focus, it's just like magic, like a magician. If you have your focus somewhere else, that's when what's it called? Not triage. It's there's a term for it when they do the trick. And so words like abracadabra, abraharaba, or whatever the fuck that is, they're structured so that it flips and flops and makes your subconscious busy. And then 3, like the 3 is a holy number, and it's also an evil number. It's holy, and it's also used to like trick people because it's odd. And you can't fit it together properly. Like triangles are different than squares. And I know I sound a little crazy to some people, but like people with high cognitive pattern recognition ability will listen to what I'm saying right now and they understand what I'm saying. It's like hypnotism is fucking real. And it's like mass hypnotism is real, and saying like Martin Luther King Jr., free at last, thank God Almighty we are free at last. Like saying free 3 times will make it so he could say anything and you just explode.